Mr. Jelly by Roger Hargreaves. Poor Mr. Jelly was frightened of everything and anything. At the slightest little thing, he would quiver and have trouble and shake and turn to jelly. So it's not really surprising to find that Mr. Jelly lives as hard as anybody that he can find. In the middle of a wood, miles and miles from everywhere. This story begins on Monday where Mr. Jelly was fast asleep. It was a beautiful autumn morning. The sun was shining. The leaves of the tree had turned to a glorious red, and the wind stirred gently in the treetops. A single leaf fell gently from the tree outside Mr. Jelly's house and quietly brushed against his bedroom window as it fell. Mr. Jelly awoke with a start. "Oh, what's the terrible noise?" he cried. "Oh, heavens, the house is falling down. Oh, disaster. It's an earthquake. Oh, calamity. It's the end of the world." And he hid under the bedclothes, trembling with fright. God. After an hour, in which he realized that his house wasn't falling down, and there wasn't an earthquake, and the world wasn't coming to an end, Mr. Jelly peeped out from the bedclothes. "Phew," he said. "Thank goodness for that." And he got up and went downstairs to make breakfast. Mr. Jelly poured out some cornflakes out of a packet into a bowl. Then he poured some milk in the cornflakes. Then he went to the milk cupboard to get some sugar. Crackle, crackle, went the cornflakes in the milk. "Oh, goodness gracious!" cried Mr. Jelly, diving under the kitchen table. "Oh dear, I hear guns! Oh, calamity, it's war!" And of course it wasn't. Of course, Mr. Jelly eventually came out under the table and ate up all his cornflakes. After breakfast, Mr. Jelly thought he'd go for a walk. He was walking through the woods with surrounded with a worm poked his head out of the ground. "Morning," said the worm cheerfully to Mr. Jelly. Mr. Jelly nearly jumped out of his skin. "What?" he shouted. "Who's there?" And then he saw the worm. "Oh, good heavens, it's a snake. Oh dear, a man-eating snake. Oh, calamity, I'm going to be eaten alive." And he jumped up in a tree. "What a performance," commented the worm, and went back into his hole. After an hour, Mr. Jelly felt brave enough to climb down the tree and continue his walk. Eventually, he came out on the other side of the wood and into a field. Mr. Jelly glanced nervously around. It was an empty field, or was it? In the long grass of Mufflewood, unseen by Mr. Jelly, there was a tramp enjoying the sleep in the autumn sunshine. Mr. Jelly picked his way up cautiously through the grass. The tramp, fast asleep, snored. "What was that?" shrieked Mr. Jelly. "It's a lion! I heard it growl! Oh, goodness gracious! Oh, dear me! A huge lion with enormous teeth! A huge lion with enormous sharp teeth that's gonna bite me too! A huge lion with sharp teeth that's gonna bite me too, not 3! And then he fainted. Bonk! All this commotion awakened the trap, who yawned, stretched, sat up, and saw Mr. Jelly lie in the trap beside him. "Oh dear," he said. He was a kindly trap. "Oh dear." And he picked up Mr. Jelly and placed some jelly calm his hand. Mr. Jelly came to and sat up, rubbing his eyes. And then he saw the tramp's face looking at him. "Oh, disaster!" he screamed. "Oh, calamity! It's a giant and ogre! Oh, goodness gracious, it's gonna have me for breakfast!" My, said the tramp gently. "You are a nervous little chap, aren't you? What's your name?" "Mr. Jelly," shouted Mr. Jelly. "I used to be nervous like you," said the tramp, "but I learned not to be. Would you like me to tell you a secret?" Mr. Jelly quivered and shook and said, "Yes, please." "It's very simple," continued the tramp. "All you have to do is count to 10, and you'll find that whatever's frightening you isn't quite so frightening after all." And he set Mr. Jelly down in the grass. "Remember," he said to Mr. Jelly, "count to 10. And off he went. Mr. Jelly thought it would be a very good idea if he went home immediately. Back across the field he went. Back through the woods he went. He was walking through the woods and he stepped on a twig. Snap! went the twig. Mr. Jelly snapped twice in his own height of terror. What was that? He shrieked. That terrible snapping noise. It's a tree falling down. It's gonna crush me to pieces. Oh, calamity. It's a crocodile hiding in the bushes. Snap its teeth. Oh, disaster. And then he stopped. He took a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, he said. And saw what it got snap was a twig. A silly old twig. Phew, he says. Mr. Jelly had almost reached his house when a leaf fell directly down to a tree. On top of him. Oh, help, the police, murder, he screamed. I'm being kidnapped. Oh, calamity. It's Ruffins with guts. They're going to... And then he stopped. He took a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then he saw what had fallen on him was only a leaf. Nothing but a leaf. A stupid red leaf. It works, he said out loud in wonderment. And you know, it did work. After that moment, Mr. Jelly was a changed man. Well, you can see that by looking at him, can't you? And he never shrieks, or shouts, or screams, or quivers, or shakes, or trembles anymore. And he never hides under the bedclothes anymore. Well, not very often, anyway. No boy, that's Bubber Food Piss Cat. You finally fixed my eyes and my nose and my hairpiece. So technically, I have googly eyes now. And you finally put glue on me. And you finally became Topo Sticky. The actual one. In the next episode, I will not have any eyes at all. And technically, I would be nervous when I saw you reading. And when I pop up, I would shout, "No boy, that's Bubber Food Piss Cat." And technically, you should positively say that you can count to 10 and feel brave and you would feel calm throughout it. I think it's some egads. I'd like a piece of... No boy, that's Bubble Piss Cat. Finally, you are finally got to eyes. What the hell? Next is 16. You should be no. I can't. You